Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Valyear. They have a new album called Revolution Fear, which was released on July 16th via Wormhole Records. Right now, I'm being joined by Chad to share some more information about this release, as well as what the band has got going on. So, Chad, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, John.
You're quite welcome.
It's great to be here.
Great to have you here. Thanks for writing some good music.
Thank you for listening to it.
Yeah. I mean, they sent it to me. I really didn't have much of a choice.
Well, that's good.
Hey, if I want to keep my job, I got to talk to you.
Get the rest of the world under those constraints.
Very true. I was like a zombie when I heard it beneath the machine. Let me tell you something.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
Yeah.
He did his homework. I like it.
Sweet. I've got my rainbow pad with all my notes in it.
All right. See, we love everybody.
That's true. I really like the decor in your house.
Oh, not bad, eh? Not bad. Yeah, we got little, if you could actually see around a little more, you'd see my big Batman on the wall and my big Star Wars on the wall. Sort of a nerd that way.
Wow. Okay.
And my wife lets me do it. She bought me the shit. So.
Whoa.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It is super cool. You know, the other day, speaking of cool wives, I was like, I want to buy another guitar. And my wife was like, so do it. And I was like,
So she let you do it?
She let me do it. I mean, I would come home with guitars as if they were puppies at the Humane Society, Chad.
Yeah. I'm really fortunate. And my wife always has my back musically. Like, there's never, ever been a conflict when it comes to music. Like, when I need gear, when I need anything, she's just like, well, you need it, go get it. And I'm really fortunate that way.
Mm-hmm. But, babe, I need another reverb plugin. You don't understand.
Well, fortunately, I'm not the most tech savvy. Mm. So, basically it comes down to a microphone, in-ears, things like that. And it's like, it can get expensive, but it's not common that I need them. And it's usually a one-shot deal, right?
Yeah.
You get it one. Good. It's not like a guitarist who, my guitar player has, I think, like 15 guitars or something. Mm. My bass player has, many guitars, many basses, Even Nick, our drummer, he's got like 2 or 3 kits.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of 2 to 3 kits, does that mean that on the record we're hearing like an amalgamation of drum kits or many different snares, or how did it work?
No, it was all one sitting. Like over the course of a couple days, tracks were all done, nailed, no problems. Okay. All the same kit. Mic'd up, and then Sean does his thing, our producer Sean Gregory, and then he does his thing, does the edits, etc. Yeah, and it turned out I love the drum sound on their album. I think that's huge on any album. Like, if the drums sound like shit, I can't even get through the record.
Yeah, Chad, that's the number one thing that young buck guitar players have to learn when they're listening to a record. Is the 2 most important things are drums and vocals.
It's true. And I mean, as a singer, when you say that, it comes off egotistical, right? The vocals have to, but I mean, the focal point of most bands are the singers. Like, it's very rare you get someone like a Tommy Lee or, those types of people, an Eddie Van Halen who overshadows everything, Yeah. So, I mean, it is the singer. That's why it's important that they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we can get away with some stuff in rock. Vocals are still important. Obviously not as important as, say, Top 40, but where the only thing you've got is T Swift and some kid snapping his fingers off in the corner for a meal.
Well, it's just unfortunate. I just think music right now, especially rock music, I just feel like it's almost lost its place, and we're the underground, and it's terrifying. But what it did do, you think, we're in a day and age where, someone like Van Halen, God rest his Eddie's soul, I mean, they didn't even have a record deal because it's so not super important anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's really frustrating because the most you can hope to make career-wise is, especially in Canada, is as much as, say, a guy, who owns his own business, like a roofer or something like that. But the downside to that is you have to be on the road 200, 300 days a year to make that money. So in a sense, you know, as much as digital, you know, access killed music, in other ways it will separate the men from the boys, because the people who love it will continue to do it whether they're making money or they're not, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really you know, it's the catch-22. You know, everybody thinks because they got Pro Tools in their basement that, you know, they can record an album, and the proof is in the pudding with that. Like, how many shitty albums do you hear? And that's not to put mine on a pedestal. It's to say, like, you know, just because I have Photoshop.
I'm going to take your album off the pedestal. Hold on a second.
But just because I have Photoshop doesn't mean I take great pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really more, there's so much more to it. And it gets lost in, you know, when I was growing up, there was, you know, I knew 2 guys in my high school that were in a band, right? 2 guys. And now, like, everybody plays something, or people don't even have to play anything because they got machines that will do that, right?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is take a cool picture and put your shit on Spotify, and you're a rock star in your own mind, you know? So I think that whole thing is lost. I miss it.
My mind is a pretty cool place. But talking about things that you miss... yeah. Big thundering drum sounds. Well, speaking of things that you miss, something that you mentioned there that I think is missing, unless I'm just not paying attention, which I kind of find hard to believe considering what I do with the podcast, is going back to my humility, is these larger-than-life personas or characters that we used to have in rock music that now get made fun of. The Tommy Lee, who used to get a lot of street cred, now gets made fun of. The Lars Ulrich, who used to get a lot of street cred, now gets made fun of because he went from a 7.
And it's almost like people are afraid to be cool. I don't know if like hipsters made that not fun, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there was nothing like. My wife makes fun of me a lot because all my heroes growing up were all the long hair, leather pants, fire, sweat. You know, the rock swagger that I think is so. You know, when I was a kid, it was almost like superheroes. Mm-hmm. You know. When you go to most, like when I see a lot of bands nowadays, most of these guys look like they just got off work.
They probably did, right? Delivering pizza.
Well, maybe, but you know, why do I want to give a dude, you know, $20 of my money to watch him in his work clothes? Like that's boring to me. And it's not like I'm all, you know, in, you know, leathers and stuff like that, but I definitely do something to change my appearance from work to the stage. And I don't understand, like, I mean, it got to a point where it got ridiculous, mind you, but, like, a guy like Tommy Lee really lived that shit. You know what I mean? I mean, stuff. And,
well, you've already said it, Chad.
I know. I didn't even make the connection.
This is my son, Gabriel, by the way. He's the...
Hey, Chad.
How's it going, Gabriel?
How's it going, baby?
Nice to meet you.
It's so good.
Yeah.
How's you?
I'm fantastic.
Nice, that's good.
How old are you, Gabriel?
How old are you, son?
I'm only 7, but I look like I'm 10.
I was going to say, you look almost as old as my daughter. She's 13.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look almost like the same height.
Wow. Yeah, he is pretty tall. He's tall. Tall and skinny.
Yeah.
Attaboy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like back to like what I was saying was like, you know, those guys really lived it. And unfortunately, it got to that point where they almost became parodies of themselves, right? Like it got so ridiculous after a while. Yeah. And because it got oversaturated. And then from there, you know, came along the grunge era or the Faith No Mores and the things like that. And
yeah, you're talking about larger-than-life rock personas, how they eventually became a parody of themselves.
Right, but then, you know, the Faith No Mores and the Alice in Chains and stuff, man, they were singing about real stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was, like, almost silly to want the sex, drugs, and the rock and roll. Whereas, to me, I thought that was what made it exciting. It was striving for something you couldn't have. Right. Like, music to me was an escape. And that, I mean, Alice in Chains is my favorite band of all time. But I don't want to sit and listen to how a guy wanted to die every day. You know, I want to think about the things that were untangible. You know, the stuff like the sex, drugs, and the rock and roll. And, you know, throughout your life, that does become tangible when you're in that field. Right? But apparently it became uncool to sing about it. And I don't know why, you know?
Yeah. When you're married, Chad, there is no sex. Okay.
I don't have that problem.
Okay, I think that's, you mean playing the explicit version of that one. So.
The explicit version. That's right. The explicit version. You're right, children.
So I'm gonna explicit it out then.
Explicit it out. There you go. Okay. And then...
I edit the video, so I'm, like, counting on if it's, like, explicit or not.
Yes, he does edit the videos. Do you want me to make some notes about this one for you to edit some certain points, kiddo?
Yeah.
All right. 1 second, please. Edit certain sections. I'll just put edit certain sections. Yeah, no, I think it's crazy, right? It's almost like anybody's looking for anything they can, such as an experimental career decision, which is what I'm going to call the Saint Anger snare drum sound.
Oh my! What that was about? I still don't. Years later,
you know, but it's like the guy who used to be on drum magazines where people were going, "Man, how did he do that 7-stroke roll on the double pedal?" All of a sudden, people are going, that snare sound completely undoes his entire career. Like, I don't think it does. It's just...
I think people are too quick to jump and be mean. Like, it's like all of a sudden they're not, you know, they do a one, even if the whole album was shitty, which there's actually some really good things on that album. As a whole, not so much.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's some really great things on that. But, like, you're just supposed to be incredible and amazing and make a great decision, like, all the time. You know, you're not allowed to do something shitty or lackluster ever once just to try. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's unlistenable.
Yeah.
But do I hate Metallica bass? You know, like all of a sudden Lars Ulrich just is shit because of that. That's not fair.
Yeah, no.
You know, I mean, you can't hate music because of Nickelback. You know what I mean?
Careful, please. Well, I know, and you're pretty close because your name is Chad.
Right. You know, I choose Chad Gray for my name instead.
There we go. Boom. That's one of my life goals, actually, is to call Chad on Skype and be like, yo, baby, what's up? And do my intro and everything.
And your goal's complete now.
That's right. And then it'll be, my life will be complete. And
I thought it's really weird that guy, you know, like Nickelback to me are just, I don't know, it's like watered down pop to me, right? Like it's just meh. And it's not, you know, you do what you do, I guess. Like you can't, I try not to shit on people who just do what they're good at. Like if he did a thrash album, I would feel silly for him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, I don't have to like it. But in the same regard, I'm surprised how many people respect him in the business, right? Like when I see the people he hangs out with, like he was great friends with guys like Daryl, or he was, you know, he's close with, you know, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
That astonishes me. I don't understand. Like maybe he's just a cool dude. I don't know. But I mean, as far as like rating them all in the same musical world, I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no artistic integrity in Nickelback, and I'll go on the record and say that.
You are on the record saying that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we hit record.
But it's just the way I feel. Like there's just some bands that I think, you know, they just don't resonate with me for whatever reason. And, you know, some people are afraid to acknowledge that. It's like, I'm not saying Nickelback suck because clearly they don't. You know, clearly they know something I don't, and they're doing something better than I'm doing it. But do I believe he's sitting there at home going, my heart and my soul is really in this? He's going, no, verse, chorus, $100 million. Thank you very much. Just catch you later. That's my perspective. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be the equivalent of being a chef and going into the kitchen and going, recipe book? I don't need that. I'm going to wing it today.
Yeah. Well, I think he's following the recipe book.
Sure is.
Yeah. And I can't. Like, I don't understand music from a theory perspective at all. Like, I don't have any training. I don't have any kind of, you know, I don't know what notes go where. I hear music and I sing over top. So fortunately for me, my ignorance has been bliss. Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, taking that into this record that we have,
yes.
What is this record, Revolution Fear? What did you guys set out to create?
Well, what happened was, it was kind of cool because we had done an EP and we called it the Fire EP. And we were just finishing up an EP called Dirty. And we got the call from Wormhole Death Records and Carlo, and he really loved our stuff, and he said, well, when can you guys have an album done?
Mm-hmm.
And we had only released the Fire EP, you know, in our circle. right? We weren't really pushing it too hard, or we were just doing it because we loved doing it. And then I've known the guys in the band for years, like we've been together, and you know, Nick being the guy who's been in the least amount of time, but he's like an old soul. He's just kind of always feels like he's always been there, right? I've known Joe since I was 10. I've known Jeff for 10 years. So it's all just kind of like really worked. And when he called us, I was just like, well, we're just about to put this out. Why don't you meld these two together and make it one album? Because it sounds very cohesive. We're very fortunate in that sense. Like, you know, all our stuff tends to sound like it comes from the same batch, right? Like, why don't you meld these together and we will release it? And while you're doing that, we will record the next one, right? So we're in the middle actually right now of recording a new album for Wormhole Death, but this one has been released now, and it's cool because those who are waiting for the second EP, they get it all at once now, right? And people who didn't know of us because of the Fire EP get it all now. And so we just called it Revolution Fear, just basically based on what's going on in the world right now. Like, you know, I don't think there is a revolution anymore. I think we're afraid to speak up. I think we're afraid, you know, to have an opinion that differs from the popular one. And I think that's, you know, in the words of the, you know, great Corey Taylor, when everything matters, eventually nothing will. You know, what stand could you possibly take? You know, what, you know, when you disagree with the masses or you disagree with these social justice warriors nowadays, it's terrifying. You know, you will be shamed and out-talked and talked into a circle and told how stupid you are for having a different opinion. Like, how fucked up is the world right now? Right?
Yeah.
And that's where that came from. You know, Joe came up with that title and it just rang so true because it's just how I feel. Like, I don't understand the world I live in right now, you know, and I'm not even sure I care to, you know, it's a pretty terrifying world out there. Like, I worry about my daughter. My daughter's 13.
Yeah.
You know, I have older children too, but, you know, I'm you know, my younger one is the one I fear for because she doesn't like this technology, this age where you don't, you know, her attention span, like, and I'm just as bad, I got to admit, like with technology, I'm not tech savvy, but I've got a phone. And that might be one of the worst inventions in history because my head is rarely up from it, you know?
Yeah.
And same with hers, like sitting beside her on her tablet. I just think about, you know, and that's kind of what it is. This world right now terrifies me, you know?
I'm making a note. Terrifying tech.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, maybe it's because I'm old, that life didn't really start changing too much drastically until probably about the last 10 years, and all of a sudden it's been light speed in the wrong direction, it feels like. And I don't know if I'm just old, or if we are actually headed in the wrong direction and we're going to hit a wall at some point.
Well, I think it has no choice. Like, I think it has to come crumbling down, and I think, you know, this whole thing that's going on in the world right now is going to speed that up.
Yeah.
You know, like this whole COVID thing and the theories behind it, and, you know, the conspiracy theories are the ones that, you know, like, to me, it's like the whole thing just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know, and there's, you know, I want somebody, I would love for somebody to change my mind. Like, I'm that kind of person. Like, I want to know what makes you tick, right? So if you can change my mind, I encourage that kind of thinking. I want somebody to say something to me that makes me think different, right? But when something is just so blatantly obvious, it terrifies me that people are just like, all right. You know, like one day the government said, do this. And we just said, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
And nobody asked questions. And when they did, they were shut down.
Yeah. Right?
That's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
You know,
the law.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
The law is a dangerous thing because people follow it.
Well, and if you give, you know, social media right now, if you give an idiot a pedestal, they'll use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah,
we have all these people, you know, and you know, when they ask me, well, what do you think's going on, Chad? And it's like, I don't know, but I know it's not this. You know, like, yeah. I'm sure it's not this.
Yeah.
You know, well, where are you getting your information from? Your phone? And it's like, well, where do you get yours from? You know, like, we're all getting our information from the same place, you know, from the same devices.
Yeah.
You know, it's just where you're choosing to look. Like, I watch Google change daily. I'll search something and search the same thing a couple of days later and the information's gone. That's not conspiracy theory. That's like my eyes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So it gives me lots of stuff to write about. I'm never short of topics. But, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm in recovery. I don't do drugs. So it's like there's no, you know, it's not like I'm smoking a bunch of pot and coming up with all these theories. You know, it's like it's all right there, and it freaks me out, terrifies me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, speaking of phones, Wormhole Death just called you out of the blue. Did you come across their radar somehow? Were you already at some point? Did you send them the EP maybe at some point? Like, how did Carlo call you out of nowhere?
Guy reached out to me, and my guess it's probably one of their people or a friend of Carlo's or something like that. He reached out and he said, "Hey, he discovered us on some social media site somewhere, and he heard one of our tracks, and he's like, I know a guy." And it was really bizarre because he didn't say I'm a scout for this. He said, my friend runs this label, right, and I think you guys would be right up his alley. And he said, this is his name, this is his email address. So I reached out to him and I sent him Beneath the Machine because we had just finished the video for that. Mm-hmm. And he looked at it, and then we had a couple other tracks posted. We had Fall Too Far and Like a Zombie.
Right.
And he heard those tracks, and he was just like, you know, his response is what really intrigued me into wanting to work with him in the first place, was just, you know, and it wasn't, you know, the you guys are awesome sort of vibe. It was like, you know, he really critiqued the songwriting, but in a positive manner. Like, you guys write great songs, and he goes, you guys sound like exactly like what we would want to work with.
Yeah.
And that's really what, you know, I didn't feel like he was kissing our ass or anything. I felt like he was being very sincere, you know, and we do take a lot of pride and time in writing songs. So I know the work I put into it. So when it was noticed, it was really easy to accept the compliment. And then he threw it out there, and he threw it through the offer out. We went back and forth, and it was great. And everything's been fantastic. Like, they have more than held up their end of things. You know, they're just really easy to work with. And I've never met Carlo because obviously he's in Italy. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I feel, you know, him and his assistant Nat, I talk to them almost every day for whatever reason.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like they keep tight, you know, they work tight with you always. And it's always positive. You know, have a blessed day, have a great day, you know, like it's not just business as usual. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing I need. I don't really dig, you know, robot type relationships. You know, I'm just not into that in any way, shape, or form. I'm not built for small talk. You know what I mean? Never have been. Really.
Listen, man, you can't give me your 2 cents because Canada got rid of the penny. So knock it up to 5 cents or get out of here.
That's going to be my Facebook status.
It should be.
That's good.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite comebacks. I got a few of my favorite comebacks, like whatever floats your boat will water. So if there's anything that's floating your boat other than water, tell me where you're at, what you're on. I'd like some. Whatever makes you happy. I'm like, unless it's strangling people.
Hey, sometimes that works.
Sometimes that works. Yeah, I guess it depends on who you're strangling. You know, and the other day, actually, at my work, somebody just randomly walked up to somebody on our patio and just punched one of our customers. And it just came to full force. Like, you know, do what makes you happy, other than going up to a stranger on a patio who's enjoying their evening and punching them in the face. Like you know,
we frown upon that.
Yeah, we frown upon that. You found something other than water to float your boat, sir. Yeah, the 2 cents thing. Well, Canada got rid of the penny, so I can't do anything with 2 cents. But you could knock it up to a nickel.
Even at the stores, they round it. When it's to their benefit, they round up.
Yeah.
When it's to our benefit, they round down. If they owe me 2 cents, it goes down to 10 from 12. If I owe them 2 cents, it goes up to 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Beneath the machine, man.
That's right. Damn that machine.
Damn that machine.
I got to smash some TVs in that video. It was pretty fun.
I bet it was fun to smash a TV.
I didn't know they pop as loud as they pop. It sounds like a gunshot.
If it's a tube one, yeah. Was it a tube one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all tube ones, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a filament in there.
Yeah.
Cool.
See, science.
Yeah, science. We chatted about massive drum sounds. We chatted about drum personas. We even chatted about guitar personas, such as Eddie Van Halen. And there's still some original guitar personas kicking around still. Paul Gilbert's still kicking around. Steve Vai's still kicking around.
Yeah, Steve Vai, man. His album, Sex and Religion,
Mm-hmm.
that album, with Evan Townsend singing,
Mm-hmm.
that changed my life. That's such, like, unreal. And it's one of those lost albums and everything on it, like Terry Bozzio and T.M. Stevens. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
You know?
No,
and
it
it's,
doesn't.
again, like, why not? Everybody's afraid to be awesome. Like, why? You know? Oh, you're just wanking off. And it's like, yeah, but fuck, man. Like, I get sick of not hearing some doodly doodly, you know? There's a band called Lions at the Gate, and it's a couple of guys from El Nino. And like that, that whole, new metal type thing.
Yeah.
But it's cool because the drummer, he's playing away and he's flipping his sticks and he's, but it's like new music, but they're doing the old school drumming. And like, to me, that stuff was, the shit that made me want to look at it,
Mm-hmm.
I listen with my eyes too, I guess,
Listen with your eyes. You eat with your eyes. You listen with your eyes. I wonder if we do anything else with our eyes. Anybody listening in who wants to comment on anything else that we do with our eyes, that would be fan-freaking-tastic. All right. Chad, we chatted about the album Revolution Fear. We chatted about there's an album coming up. We chatted about your thoughts on how awesome Wormhole Death is. So shout out to Nat and Carlo. And what else we do? We chatted about terrifying technology. What else we chat about? Chat about Beneath the Machine, Like a Zombie, a couple music videos.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything. And if we didn't cover anything in 27 minutes, then I don't know what we could cover.
I think we did it, man.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. And hopefully we can do it again, man. I'll be listening to your thing now.
Sweet. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, as long as the new album doesn't suck, we'll have you on.
Well, I can't promise you.
Okay.
But we're going to try damn hard.
Sweet. Give me some long hair and some leather.
Social media you're on, brother. Add me.
Sorry?
I'm on it all. Add me on all your social media.
Okay. Can do that.
All right. I'm on it.
Sweet. All right. I'm stopping that one. I'm stopping this one.